Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, John Harcar, and today I'm here with Hawk Mikado. And what we're going to talk about is really helping families build wealth through smarter real estate investments. Remember, guys, here at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and real estate service providers 2 to 5x their business. And we do that by providing resources, tools, and information to help build the business you want to build and live the life you've always wanted to live. So, Hawk, welcome to our show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no, it's really great to have you on. I know we talked a little bit before we got on this, and I'm super excited to dig into the topic of smarter investments, right? Because, we all want to grow wealth, but we want to make sure we do it the smart way. But before we talk about all that and get in the weeds, tell our audience about you, about, your journey, how you got here, and what brought you into real estate.
So, 2012, I was going to school up north. I lived in San Diego. I was going to school in Irvine, Orange County for like 2 to 3 week stints. And at the
UCI?
time, what's that?
Did you have the UCI?
No, it was like a vocational school.
Oh, okay. All right. I grew up in Orange County, so I'm just curious.
Oh. Yeah, so I, my at the time, my mom had actually lost her job. I was still living at home, part-time, living in Airbnb, living in hotels when I was up there. And
Oh, wow.
I was young, so I was partying, so I was pretty much never home. But my mom was going through pre-foreclosure, and I was talking with my dad one day. I was running out of my money for schooling, and he's like, "Hey, you should check out this thing. It's called Airbnb." And I was like, "I'm paying $100 and something a night at the Extended Stay America, which is a great way to travel if you're looking for a hotel." But at the time, Airbnb was just getting started. It started in 2008, and it had been a couple years, but it was just starting to gain that popularity. And I was able to stay for $352, I believe, in my first Airbnb. And I stayed there for just over a week. And the host, she sat down and told me everything, what had worked. She'd been doing it since 2008.
Wow, okay.
What worked, what didn't. Who to attract, how to attract them, literally everything about it.
Priceless,
and I went back to my mom and I was like, hey, she had a 4-bedroom. We had a roommate. We had one room that was basically her office, and it was the small room. And then we had a bigger room, which was my room, which I was pretty much never there. So I was like, why don't we try renting out this room on Airbnb? I'll move into the small room, and you move your office into the living room. And we did that. The first guest paid for half of her mortgage payment and stayed for a week. The second guest paid for the other half.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And for the
That's
next
awesome.
decade, she lived rent-free and didn't have to.
Let's go.
anything.
I love it.
We went from in pre-foreclosure to selling in 2021. And through that process, I actually moved out of the second room into the shed in the back. I converted the shed into an actual bedroom. I put up drywall and all the stuff, and insulation, drywall, everything to make it semi-livable. And it actually became the spot for all my friends and I to hang out.
Right on.
Because it was, it was secluded, so to speak, from everything else. And it was a pretty big shed. I mean, it was like the previous owner had it as a like a workshop for.
Okay. So maybe like a 10 by 10, something like that.
Yeah, it was a 10 by 10 wood frame on stilts, the whole nine. So it was livable.
Sure.
It wasn't like a little rinky-dink shed, but we then rented out the second room, the third room eventually, and that helped pay for literally everything for her, which was really amazing. And
that's a great way to get out of foreclosure.
Yes, absolutely. From there, we started buying additional properties and bought a rental property. Later sold that, bought a couple of other Airbnbs, and just continued to do that over the course of the years. At the same time, I was doing marketing and lead generation, and I had the privilege of working with quite a few people teaching real estate training, like teaching and training how to do real estate investing, how to be,
awesome.
Be a better realtor, all that sort of stuff. So that really got me way more inspired and get behind the scenes on both growing lists of motivated sellers, motivated buyers, as well as really just getting to see all these different strategies, because each one of them taught something different. And that was really a blessing to be able to do that.
Who were some of your mentors? I'm just curious.
So Mike Baird from Smart Real Estate, Mike Costigan, and his former partner Kevin with the REO Rockstars, and then a couple others that I won't mention because
right on. I was just curious.
But yeah, I like they both and Jim Krautkramer as well. He specifically taught motivated sellers.
So how were you buying these properties? Were you getting private money, or what did you do?
So family money, investments, money from our agency, money from I did a couple wholesale deals. I did just kind of really all around started. I wouldn't call it dabbling because but it was a side hustle.
Right. You weren't going full bore on it.
Yeah. And as COVID started and a couple things had happened within our marketing agency, we ended up really paring it down, changing our model. And in that process, we'd also moved to Florida. We sold one of our properties in Nevada, which is where most of our properties are today. And came to buy one in Florida. We sold it because it wasn't cash flowing. We had two on the same street, and forever that we had like a 90 to 100% occupancy. And then for like 6 months, we had a 50% occupancy between the two of them. We just couldn't keep them both filled because they were literally on the same street.
Yeah, right.
So we're like, you know what, let's sell one. We didn't want to buy another one there because interest rates went from 6.75%, which is what we bought them at, to 7.5%.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at, okay, what can we do? And we were living in Airbnbs at the time here in Florida, just because I love the flexibility of that.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
But my daughter, was going to school. We wanted to settle down at least for a couple of years, but we also wanted to invest in something that would both gain equity and would be an amazing rental property.
Yeah.
And we do something very different with our Airbnbs. We do them as a room by room rental. So we don't do whole house. It mitigates a lot of risk. I've got a whole program and training on that specifically. We could probably spend about 6 hours on a podcast just talking.
I'm sure I have questions. So yeah.
But so we bought this place in Parrish, which is just south of Tampa. In the next 3 years, there's a huge hospital going in and a college going in. Right now, we could rent it if we rented the whole house for $3,600. Our mortgage is $3,000. Actually, it's less than $3,000, but mortgage and utilities and things like that come at about $3,000. And if we rented it by the room, we could rent it for $5,000 to $6,000.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and that's today. In 3 years, 5 years from now, when the college is done and the hospital is done and, people are moving, like this area is going to blow up. So, we didn't buy the property for ourselves. We have our trust purchase the property and then we rent it from our trust, which is one of the real estate hacks that allows us to, we don't get homestead, but homestead's only like $1,000, which most people they're like, this is great. I'm getting a tax deduction. It's like, $1,000 versus writing off the entirety of the interest. And the first 5 years, it's huge.
Good nugget, guys. Take notes. Good nugget. Rent from trust. Okay, well that's cool. So you got these properties now. So now what are you doing? I mean, you got this one there. Are you just in full buy mode? What are you guys doing now?
Yeah, so we're focused in this process, which I guess I skipped over. My wife was like, "You are so much happier when you're doing real estate versus when you're working on the agency stuff." I love working on the agency side of things for a lot of reasons, but there's always it's always a constant turnover. There's just some things that I just lost passion for, and I can only make so much of an impact as my clients actually make, and they only make as much of an impact as the effort and energy they put into it, which varies from client to client. Where in real estate, I can see the direct impact because I'm helping a family buy a property that's going to appreciate, that's going to cash flow, that's going to create wealth for themselves. And as a rental property, it then helps another family who otherwise may have been somewhere else that would have been less desirable. So
yes, that's awesome.
I can see the tangible impact, and we then take some of our money that we get on the commission side and donate that to charities that help end homelessness. So we're able to further that cause.
And we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I have to ask this question before it leaves my brain. So when you're renting them by the room, right? So are you just, letting the people know in your ads, like, hey, this is a rent by the room. There will be other people there, shared common space, or, is all that kind of, okay.
Yeah, we have it's like probably a 5-page sales letter that I wrote, and we use the same template. It's fill in the blank ad lib style at this point, where we post it, and that's the listing.
Okay.
And they're able to go and then click and schedule based on our availability.
Awesome. Awesome. So are you still doing lead gen and all those type of things, or?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, we still do a little bit, but we're very, very particular in who we will accept as a client. And we've gotten, we used to be very customized in our services, and it's now an all or nothing, because I was like, a lot of the times it was like, oh, well, I don't want to do social media, or I have somebody else doing social media, and then it would stop, or they weren't doing the right kind of social media content. They're posting quotes and shit like that, which that doesn't do anything for your brand visibility. I mean, it's great, if you want to attract people who are looking for motivational quotes, but that's not going to build your business. And so, we're very intentional with the content that we put out there.
Okay. Is it all SEO online stuff? I mean, what services do you offer within the lead gen?
Sure. So we do social media management, SEO, blogging, so blogging specific SEO on page keywords, press releases, which is really more SEO and credibility building. We do run ads on Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, LinkedIn, X social, all those sorts of things. We build AI bots. There's a couple other things that are in that.
Okay. And are you taking on more clients at this point now, or are you just I know you said in particular, do you work more with referrals now?
Yeah. So, I mean, most of the people that I connect with are people that I have a conversation with, and then, I will accept a client if I know that we can help them succeed and they're willing to hand over the reins of their marketing to us.
Got it.
That's really what it comes down to. It's I don't have the patience, I guess, at this point to get nitpicked on every single little thing, and to have to, for in the beginning, it's a process. But I have a client who he's a good friend of mine. We talk like once every 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
And his stuff's just on autopilot, and right, it's just the team knows what to do. They do it every single day. And we do daily social content, daily emails for him, daily, weekly press releases,
awesome,
weekly blog articles, the whole 9 yards. And it's easy for both of us, and it gets him clients, and he can quantify that, which is ultimately, you should never continue on with a marketing agency that's not producing results. I say, we don't do contracts or anything like that. We have a setup and everything, which, and we, it's like, hey, we recommend, give this at least 3 months,
right,
to get everything so you can see the quantifiable results.
Well, it takes time to build and learn,
but we don't have contracts. That's literally, and we take weekly payments. You could cancel with a week. It's a week, basically, a week time.
Okay. Very
it's
cool.
Very, and it's, we got weekly deliverables, so you know exactly what you're getting that week, and for what you're paying. So
got it.
It's a great way to get everybody the results and say, hey, here's what it looks like. And it makes it easier for me to fire a client too. Then I'm like, either I'm not interested in working with them anymore, or we're just like, hey, we're not seeing the results that you want. If you want us to keep doing this because you want the visibility, that's fine, we can. But if you personally, I don't think this is worth the investment. And I've actually told a few clients that.
Yeah, well, and sometimes that it's appreciative, right? You gotta, not many people will do that. People will just continue to take your money, and even when it's not working. But that comes to you and your integrity. So where do you think you're spending more of your time now? On the agency side, on the investment side? What do you think you're focusing on?
I spend 99% of my time on the real estate side. I got a couple hours blocked out every Monday for client meetings on the agency side if they need it.
Hmm.
If they don't, I'm working on real estate stuff. So
Nice, nice.
typically
What's your
Monday is
goal? Yeah, what are your goals? Where are you trying to grow your company to? You're on in the investment side.
so ultimately over the next 10 years, we'd like to have at least $100 million under management in within our portfolio.
Okay. Are you doing property management as well? Are you offering, I mean, are you doing any other services for
Yeah. So
investors?
we've done so we have Happy Hoster, which is our Airbnb management company that does the it's technically a co-hosting company. It's not property management,
Right.
but yeah, we set everything up the same way we do with our properties, and
Very cool.
we have a very specific buy criteria. So I got a very clear buy box.
What
Key
is that?
claim,
Let's tell everybody. I
yeah.
mean, what's your buy box if they're in your markets?
So, well, this is just for the multi-room,
Right.
wherever you are, within a mile of Starbucks. That's a must,
Mm-hmm.
and within 10 miles of a health food store. So those are
Hmm.
two things that are absolutely important. If it does not meet those two criteria, I will not look at it. We had one client who bought outside of that. Literally, she came to us before she bought. I handed her the sheet with my buy box. There's a couple other things on there, but those are like the two main things.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear she bought everything that was like, it was literally the opposite of what I told her. Um, we managed it for about 8 months, and we both were like, "This is not. This is costing us too much money to manage because of how we do it." We take on everything maintenance, like literally everything within our percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she's like, "You're not filling it often enough." I'm like, "That's because you didn't put it in there
You
by
didn't put
the
it in the
right."
right area. Well,
Yeah,
I can see the Starbucks part. What's the mindset or thought process behind the health food store?
yeah. People who buy healthy food spend more money
True.
and pay
Well,
more.
because it costs more. But yeah, no, I get it. I was just kind of curious. Like I get the coffee part. I get the Starbucks part. It's just a health food store. But I guess you're right.
Yeah,
Well, that's some
those are,
good. That's some good nuggets too. So you said you want to get over 100 million in.
yeah. Well, I mean, we'd love to build a um over $100 million
What are some of
in
the trends you're seeing in the Airbnb space or the room rental space?
so the week by week, paying weekly, um, which is something I do now both in all my like any service provider. I love paying. Like I even contract with all my contractors. I'm like, we're gonna pay you weekly, even if they're like a um, you know, if I was to hire an agency, like
Hmm?
another agency for whatever reason that did stuff other than ours, I'd be like, I want to pay you weekly.
Why
Which is
is
really
that?
better cash flow, right? It's a lot easier to find. Let's just say you're paying 3 grand a month well, 2 grand a month to make the math easy. Paying 2 grand a month for whatever service doesn't matter. It's a lot easier to find $500 in a week than it is to find 200 grand in a month. No matter what you're doing, whatever your cash flow situation is, it's a
Yeah,
lot
it
easier.
makes sense. Makes
500 bucks.
sense.
I
Yeah.
can go pick up a phone and I can make 500 bucks in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours max. Where a $2,000 sale is a lot more. It takes a lot
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
So
What are some of the common mistakes you're seeing people that are trying to get into this or get into this are doing or making?
yeah, so at least here in the Tampa Bay area, and to an extent in like, even in the Vegas market where we are with our Airbnbs, um, going into short-term rentals and trying to do it with an economy. So the reason our system works so well, it is we'll call it an economy class rental, right?
Mhm.
We're not giving that luxury experience. Airbnbs stopped being as successful a couple years ago after kind of the transition out of COVID. They're actually really, really successful during COVID, ironically.
Right.
Um, but afterwards, there's just been a big shift in the marketplace. And I don't know what happened, but I find that most Airbnbs are about as expensive, if not more expensive than a hotel now.
Mm.
And half the time when I'm traveling, I'm trying to decide, do I stay in an Airbnb or do I go stay in a hotel? And I'd say probably 7 out of 10 of the last times that I've gone traveling, I've stayed in a hotel because it's less expensive, it's more convenient, and I don't have to worry about cleaning the house that I'm paying a cleaning fee for. Like some of the people, their rules and like their thought processes.
Yeah.
Um, and between the increase in prices and all these things that have culminated, less people are choosing Airbnb for shorter term stays when they're traveling for business, which is what actually a lot of people were using Airbnb for. There's also the families who travel as a family, but less people are going on vacation now because costs have risen
Costs everything
drastically.
too much. Yeah.
And so, between the fact that now the Airbnb is 1.5 times what a hotel is, and people are traveling less, the people who are traveling are looking for those 4 to 8 to 12 bedroom houses that are luxury mansion experiences. Yeah, I'm going to spend $2,000 a night, but I'm getting, and my whole family's coming with me.
Right.
So, I have people come to me all the time who are looking to buy a short-term rental, and I'm like, just so you know, that's not gonna, like, AirDNA is not gonna give you the right data. Like, I get that's what it says it's gonna come. You have this, but the reality is you're not gonna really get that, at least in our experience and in the experience of all the people in my networking groups around here that are like, I got Airbnbs. I want to liquidate these things as fast as possible, unless they are those luxury $1 million plus houses.
Yeah.
And so I guess the biggest mistake is don't buy those $200,000 to $500,000 houses for your Airbnb. They're not going to convert as well as they used to. Now, if you're going to do a midterm multi-tenant like we do, that's a very different conversation. So it's just knowing what to use your properties for. And if you have a property, if it's not working, you want to make sure that you're change your strategy. 2008, the majority of investors who lost their property were because they were so rigid in how they were managing those properties.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, like I knew a guy, he had literally hundreds of apartments, and I talked to him after, this was 2000, probably 2011, 2012. He's like, yeah, I lost my entire portfolio. And I was like, damn, that's like what happened. He's like, well, the only thing I could think of was find renters. And I was like, and I couldn't sell it because obviously at the time nobody was, if you sold it, liquidation.
Right.
It was like, so what could you have done differently? How could you have monetized those in a different way? Room by room rentals have been around long before Airbnb was around.
Sure.
And they are far more profitable. Plus you have, if for instance, we have a 5-bedroom, one of our properties, a 5-bedroom, it requires 2.5 bedrooms to be full. So 3 bedrooms to be full to make a profit.
Dude, that's nice.
And the rest of it is pure profit.
That's awesome.
2.5 bedrooms, pure profit.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. We're running out of time here, so I wanted to make sure I touch on this because I like what you talked about, that you're donating to try to end homelessness, right? So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing with that, because I think that's huge. I mean, that's awesome.
It cut out on my end for a second. You asked a question.
Oh yeah, no, just kind of talk about, what we talked about before we jumped on here about, how you donate, each deal to help end homelessness. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So, a little backstory to this. So 2019, my former business partner and I split with our agency. Um, that was an expensive learning lesson. Um, and a very, very expensive learning lesson. Uh, in that process, my wife and I were having a conversation because we went from traveling, flying private, and literally traveling the world the entire, the all the time
Yeah.
to not being able to do that, and that hurt. That hurt a lot. And we're like, okay, once we've rebuilt, once we've reaccumulated some of our wealth, and by the way, our investments, real estate investments, and I had a couple of other things that had been producing consistent cash flow for us. It was the only reason we didn't end up homeless
Hmm.
ultimately.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and so we're like this is like, had I not had the experiences and opportunities that I took advantage of over the last decade plus, we would have ended up on the street.
Yeah.
And maybe my parents and her parents, they could have helped out a little bit, but that wouldn't have been a long-term solution.
Right.
And we discussed and we're like, okay, so once we get back on our feet, what could we do that would really help change people's lives? And we started discussing and talking about it. We're like, one of the biggest problems that is pervasive everywhere in the world is homelessness. You have obviously hunger, hunger and thirst, and there's a couple of others that are pretty brutal. But I know we could end homelessness. Like, this seemed like it was like we literally we in every house we have like long whiteboard walls. Like, we literally turn our kitchen walls into whiteboard, or like dining room walls into whiteboards.
Cool.
Um, so we were mapping this whole thing out, and there was these TED Talks that we had watched, and we started combining some of these concepts together, and we realized that between those, and there's the 5x rule, or rule of five, 1/5, in mortgage, where a mortgage company will lend you 1/5 of your current debt to income ratio, right? So if you have effectively $5,000 in cash flow every single month, they will, without question, you can get somebody to lend you $1,000 a month
Mhm.
equivalent, or funds that then you'd pay back $1,000 a month. And so we looked at that and we're like, okay, if we are able to find a way to pay for housing for homeless, get them off the street, get them a job, help them become contributing members of society, and then paying for the places that they're staying in,
Hmm.
at least temporarily, until they then go move into their own property, because into their own place, because they've reintegrated back into society. How could we make that happen? And so we started looking at it, and we're like, okay, if we bought a property or built a property where we're able to um, take that and get the profits from that, go buy local businesses, plumbing, electricians, roofing companies, lawn care, etc., cleaning companies, those kind of things, and then buy or build a second building where we then, with much small, like studios only, right, like super small, um, take people off the streets, house them in, maybe even two people per room, or whatever the case may be, house them in that, but say, look, you have a sponsor that will cover your rent for 3 months. You don't
Hmm.
have, like, normal shelters, you got 4 days, maybe a week. And then you got to go out and you got to reapply and go through the whole process again. And it's this kind of
Yeah.
churn in, churn out thing, which is impossible for people to create stability. And so we came up with this model that then, with that, we're then able to employ them at all these companies that we've purchased.
That you purchased. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And now we're making a profit from the companies. That allows us to extend this out. And they're paying rent, which then allows us to go buy or build a third building technically, and then a fourth, and then a fifth, and then so on and so forth. And it's infinitely sustainable.
I love it.
And
that's awesome.
So that was the concept. Well, 2 years ago, we went to Arizona. We literally left Florida, went to Arizona, and started this process with two partners. The whole process, we got the blueprints. We were literally about to start raising funds, and at the end of the day, we one of the partners didn't agree with the sustainability part. They just wanted to do charitable work, which is that's great. You know, he wants that. His heart was in it for that reason, but to me, I was like, this has to be sustainable because HUD housing, which is what he was working on. He's like, I'm going to go work on this HUD housing project. It's like, that's great. That provides housing for people, and it does a little bit, but HUD housing, I forget what the number is currently, but I think it was like 4 million houses short today.
I love your plan. And I mean, I love how you set your thing up, and I hate to cut this off because we're running short on time here, but I appreciate you being on here and sharing all this. How do people get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you and talk to a little bit more about it, or maybe even someone want to donate into your cause?
Yeah. So the best way to connect with me is Facebook Messenger. Send me a DM, just say, hey, I heard you on the podcast. And that way I'll know, where you're coming from. If you just say hi, I will never respond. So please, tell me who you are.
Have some context have some context in there.
Yeah. Hawk Mikado. I'm the guy in the yellow suit on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. A lot of great nuggets in there. I hope you guys took some good notes, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.